Hello, everyone, and welcome to Legislative Journal with State Representative Josh Shapiro. I am Kevin Hensel. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here as well, Representative Shapiro.
It's great to be with you.
Well, let's begin with a very, very serious issue, and that concerns hate crime legislation here in Pennsylvania. First off, why is it necessary for Pennsylvania to pass a hate crimes law?
Sure. Well, look, unfortunately, what we've seen in our society is that there's a whole lot of crime. And within those crimes that occur, we have times where the crime is perpetrated on a group or on an individual based on a particular characteristic, whether because of their race, their religion, their national origin. And these are crimes not just against that individual, but entire communities that share those characteristics. And so Pennsylvania long ago believed it was important to enhance penalties for crimes against, say, African Americans or against Jews or what have you, based on race or religion. I'd like to see that expanded and have introduced legislation, and it's moving through the legislative process, to protect people based on their gender identity, their sexual orientation, or their mental or physical handicap, to enhance the list of already protected groups. It's important to note, Kevin, though, that if an African American is murdered or a Jewish person is murdered, it's not automatically a hate crime. Mm-hmm. There's really two components to making it a hate crime. One, the underlying violent crime against an individual in one of those protected groups. But two, that the motivation for that crime must have been because of that person's characteristic. So simply murdering a Jewish person is not a hate crime, but murdering a Jewish person because they are Jewish and articulating the fact that the murder is occurring because they are Jewish is a hate crime. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that deserves to have an enhanced penalty because of the fear it puts in the community, because of the fear it puts within that particular class or group or characteristic of people. And I think it says something about a society. It says something about our Commonwealth when we're willing to stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate the violence, number one. And number two, we're not going to tolerate violence based on that characteristic being targeted. And so I think it's critical that we get our hate crimes law enhanced here in Pennsylvania. And I think what we're seeing is growing support for that type of enhancement.
How would your bill fit into previous legislation that the legislature has looked at concerning hate crimes?
Sure. So currently there's hate crimes protections, again, as I said, based on race, based on religion, for example. I want to include on that list of protections people based on their gender identity, sexual orientation, and mental or physical disability. And so what we want to try and do is enhance the law, to expand the law to provide those additional protections.
And I believe the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission has supported your bill, and of course they are very important when it comes to issues like this. And your bill is also making its way through the legislature.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's being supported not only by the Human Relations Commissions, but it's being supported by groups all across Pennsylvania, from labor groups to GLBT groups to the ARCs, that is those who advocate for those with different handicaps, law enforcement groups, the District Attorneys Association would like to see this passed. So we've got a broad array of support here. Democrats, Republicans, people from the West, people from the East. There's no real, sort of clear delineation on where this breaks down. I think people understand that it's time that we protect these individuals from these types of heinous crimes.
It's obviously a very emotional and personal issue to people. Mm-hmm. If they have any questions or comments, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach us by emailing me, calling me, visiting my website, and really now's the time to engage. We passed this bill through the House Judiciary Committee. It passed by a bipartisan, actually overwhelming vote. It's now pending on the House floor. And I think it's important that if constituents feel passionately about this issue, that they get out and let their local legislator in the House and Senate know that passing the hate crimes bill is important. And again, I just want to reiterate, just simply having a crime against one of these protected groups is not a hate crime. And just simply having hateful speech against one of those in a protected class is not a hate crime. It's the combination of them together. It's really a two-part test, and both have to be met in order to trigger the enhanced penalties under the hate crime statute. So I think it is reasonable, it's balanced. I think our vote in the Judiciary Committee shows that, and we're looking forward to consideration by the full House very soon. And so if folks have opinions they want to share with me, get in touch with me. If they are watching this and live in another legislative district, I hope they'll urge their legislator to support this important initiative as well.
It is a very important bill, and we will continue to update everyone on its movement through the legislature, and hopefully the governor will have an opportunity to sign it.
I hope so.
Well, thank you, Representative Shapiro, for updating us on this issue, and thank all of you for watching. We're going to leave you with a look at Representative Shapiro's contact information.